Hi everyone, Lisa here with Whimsy Stamps, and today I am so excited to be taking part of the Wow and Whimsy Stamps Hop. Now I have two cards that I'm going to be sharing with you, and I'm going to have a few tips along the way. If you're watching this from my website post, be sure to scroll down to find the next stop along the hop. If you're joining me from my YouTube channel, check that description box below for the next stop. As always, the products used will be linked below. I'm going to give you a quick look at a few of the products we're going to be using during the video. Whimsy Stamps Galaxy Galore background, Whimsy Stamps primitive shaker dies, and I'm going to be using a sentiment from the Mermaid Dreams stamp set. Plus, we're using lots of Wow embossing powders and a few of the Wow glitters. Now, I'm going to get started by placing three 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card panels onto double-sided adhesive and trimming those down. And I'm using the double-sided adhesive because I want to heat emboss a full panel, and I'm going to be adding glitter to a few of the stars. Now off screen, I went ahead and I ran those 3 card panels through my die cutting machine. One of the panels, I cut the largest star directly from the center so that I can create a shaker card. And I also plan on heat embossing this full panel. We're going to set these aside for now and go ahead and do some stamping. 80-pound cardstock in my MISTI. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this Galaxy Galore background. First, we're laying down anti-static powder. This just helps to prevent embossing powder sticking in areas where we don't want it. And then we're going to go ahead and ink up our stamp with the Wow Emboss ink pad, and I'm going to stamp it. Now you're going to see me repeat stamp this several times because I would rather take the time now to go ahead and do the repeat stamping and know I have everything stamped rather than pour embossing powder on the paper and then I see I missed a bunch of areas. So once I'm done stamping this several times, I'm going to go ahead and lay down a piece of cheap printer paper to catch my embossing powder. Then cover this stamped image with that Wow Clear Sparkle embossing powder. And this embossing powder is so pretty. I've used it on so many different projects. I absolutely love it. You can see all that sparkle that it has there. Now, once we're done covering the image completely, we're going to go ahead and heat set this. So a couple of things about heat setting. You always want to make sure that your heat gun is preheated. You've probably heard that numerous times. You want that powder to start melting immediately. So once the powder is melting, you want to just chase it with your heat gun. There's no need to shake your heat gun back and forth. As long as you're continually moving that heat gun, you won't burn your paper. So just keep that in mind. You're going to know that the powder is set when it goes from a grainy, dull look to a smooth, shiny look. So those are just a few tips to help you along the way. All right, we're going to run this through my die cutting machine in a rectangle die, and then we're going to do an ink blended background. I'm just using VersaFine Clair inks and a blender brush to create this galaxy background, and I'm laying down Nocturne ink. I added a little bit of glamour there and a little bit of the warm breeze, and I'm just going to keep working these inks into this background until I'm happy with it. My best tip for creating this type of background blend is just work it until you're happy with it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your creation and you need to be happy with it. So make it yours and just go with it. Now, once you're done with your ink blending, you want to come in with a rag and wipe off all that excess ink off the top of those embossed areas. Okay, we're going to go ahead, clean up, and then flip that over, add some adhesive to the back of it, and place it on a piece of black cardstock. Now, I just trimmed 2 sides down, but you can do whatever works best for you. Sometimes I'm just a little bit fly by the seat of your pants And to be honest, when I get into crafting, I'm pretty much making it up as I go along 98% of the time. So if you watch the videos, just bear with me. All right, so we're going to set those aside for now, and then we're going to come in with our stars that we die cut earlier, add clear sparkle embossing powder to these, and go ahead and heat set them. Now, I went ahead and I added the Bang embossing powder to the largest star there, and I went ahead and heat set it. However, I decided that I wanted to come back in and add a little bit of the clear sparkle powder to it. So all I did was reheat the star with the embossing powder on it, and then laid down some clear sparkle powder, and then went ahead and heat set that and let it cool. So I want to also mention that you could go over to the WOW website and check that website out, because they have some really helpful information over there, especially under the technical tab. So if you understand the properties of the embossing powder, some of them are opaque, some of them are translucent, some of them are regular, some of them are glitter. So if you understand the properties, it will help you to work with them a little bit better. I think if you know embossing powder is opaque, you're not going to want to put that over a translucent powder. You're going to want to use the translucent over the opaque. So all that information over there really does help out. So here I'm, like I said, fly by the seat of your pants girl. I changed my mind. I wanted to add some pink to one of the stars. So I just came in with the fluorescent tickled pink powder, and then went back over that with a little bit of the clear. And then I added some silver to the other star. I'm creating a border around this card base because I thought it was a little bit plain for what I was doing. So double-sided adhesive, just run that around the edge of your card. It's going to give you nice straight lines. Go ahead, add glitter to it. I use the Twinklebelle. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then I just burnish that glitter into the tape. So I'm going to go ahead and use these round foam adhesives to go ahead and add the stars to the front of the card. We're going to stamp the little sentiment, make a wish, on white cardstock with Catherine Puller's Twilight ink, and then add that to the card with some tape. All right, moving on to the second card here. So for the second card, I'm going to remove the paper backing from that panel, and I saved that paper backing and actually put it on the back of the panel so that it's not sticking to the paper. It's not sticking to other things that I bump it into while I'm crafting. And I start laying down a little bit of this Fizz embossing powder, and it's like the Bang embossing powder. It has that opaque and marbling. And you saw me lay down a little bit and burnish it into the adhesive, and then I came back and I laid it down more. I just wanted to make sure that those larger chunks were really sticking to the adhesive. I'm going to go ahead now and come in and heat set this with my heat gun. Now, keep in mind you're using adhesive to hold that embossing powder down. So you want to really make sure that that gun is hot and you're not holding it to that adhesive long, because you can cause that to bubble. So you really want to be careful with that when you're doing it. Once that panel cools, we're going to flip it over, add some double-sided adhesive to the back of it, add a piece of acetate over that star window to create our shaker card. Now you're going to have to forgive me on this part because I lost some footage, and that was me creating the shaker card. But I did use these foam strips and just went all the way around the star window and then around the edges of the card, put my sequins in the star. Then we just close the back of it up with that white panel. Okay, so we have a star here. We're going to cover this with a Girl's Best Friend glitter this is gorgeous glitter. And I just went ahead and burnished that right into that double-sided adhesive. I'm going to use some extra little stars I had embossed with the clear sparkle embossing powder and add those with the round foam adhesives to the front of the card. I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of the panel and go ahead and adhere this to a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card. Stamp this sentiment again and using the Twilight ink, and then we're going to trim it down with our paper trimmer and add a couple of round foam adhesives to the back of it and go ahead and place it on the card. Now, once I'm done with this, we're just going to come in with a few sequins because, hello, we just cannot have enough sparkle on these cards. So I'm just using some sequins here to dress these up a little bit. And I believe that's going to wrap this video up. So I really appreciate you joining me, and I hope you have fun hopping along with the rest of these amazing, talented crafters. I know there's a lot of inspiration for you to check out. I hope you'll click the subscribe button and ring the bell if you're new to my channel. Now, for more information on the products I used, you can head over to the Whimsy Stamps website and the Wow Embossing website, and I hope you have an amazing day.